guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of Good Guy, Bad Guy. I'm Daniel Cormier. That's Chael Sonnen. Chael P, today was a record for actually getting the show started 7 minutes. 7 minutes after the time we were supposed to get going. That's a record. It doesn't happen like that for us.
Well, and it's such a game of finger pointing. Like, I tell you privately, like, oh, man, this is all on Jake in the control room. And all I do is hope that you never ask Jake when I'm not around because he'll tell you the truth, which is Chael showed up late. I don't know. I've been running this lie and this scam for like 5 months now. You've never called me on it. I think I've been getting away with it for the most part.
Yeah, you have. Chael, it's two middle-aged men trying to understand computers and stuff. It never happens. It will not happen for you. It won't happen for me. I'm constantly pressing stuff. I live for the day that I have to tell you to do something because it makes me feel smart. Like I know what's going on. When in reality, I have no idea what's happening. Chael, listen, this show has been tremendous for you and I both. I enjoy doing it every single week. And it is better than I ever could have imagined because now I get the opportunity to chat with you about stories and get an opinion on things that I may not get from other people. So I had to ask you this question. The other day, Merab Dvalishvili's training. He gets a cut, right? He posts a video of said cut. He's not crying. He's not mad. He doesn't seem very upset about the cut. But then when Dana White was asked about that same video, Dana White was much more animated in his response. But when you look at Merab's just kind of talking, chatting, like, this is a training injury, not a very big deal. But again, Dana had much more to say about it. And this is what he said.
The world knows about Merab's cut. He posted it. Our guys are so dumb. It's next level unbelievable. It's all the stuff that I talk about boxing, what I will give boxing is when something happens in a camp, man, let me tell you what, it does not leak. You know, our guys can't wait to throw it up on social media. It's a small cut. It's no big deal, but obviously needed to be posted.
Against a guy like O'Malley, who's a sharpshooter and who's a very accurate puncher, now all of a sudden there's a big target for him.
And why the would you want him to know that? Yeah. It is next level stupid. Some of these guys are so stupid, it's mind-boggling. It's unbelievable.
Oh, man. Okay. So he was Dana White as Dana White does, right? He's very strong in his opinions. But he even said it, Chael, it's a small cut. It's not a big deal. Merab's attitude towards it looks like, it's not that big a deal. I've still got a month. I'm going to be fine. What did you make of it? Is it that stupid, Chael?
I will tell you this, and let me shine Merab up in one degree. I don't know that we have a fighter in the organization that has done a better job in the last 8 months on social media of making himself interesting, of telling his story, of bringing an audience in than Merab. Now, there is a limit to that. In all fairness, I don't know why guys would ever show an injury report. Daniel, if I felt terrible, if you saw me over here sneezing and coughing, you thought I had a common cold and you asked me about it, I would deny it because I am Superman. I have no kryptonite. I would not show that I can bleed. I want the audience to believe when I walk into the spear on a one-off for a world title fight, there's 6 billion men on earth and we are down to 2. I don't want them to think that I am allergic, sick, or afraid of anything. I don't bleed. I don't fear. I don't cry. This is all I'm sharing for you. And I made this mistake one time. My father came in to watch me train at Team Quest, and he brought some friends with him. They even brought snacks and beers. I mean, they were treating this like they were in an actual fight, but the friends had never seen MMA before. They didn't understand what we were doing. They'd never heard of the letters UFC. The year was 2002. I got a bloody nose, and I had to miss a round. When I got the bloody nose and I missed a round, I went over to talk to those guys, introduce myself, thank them for coming. They thought I'd just gotten beaten up. My dad was ashamed. My father was literally embarrassed. I think, I don't understand what's going on. This is such a combat sport. I was being so aggressive and doing such a good job at the sport that I'm pursuing that I've even been damaged. And my dad said, what are you talking about? 4 guys are still working out. You're not because you're over here bleeding. You lost. And I'm just sharing for you. I don't know what Merab was going for in this. I don't know what story he was attempting to tell. But it didn't come out very well. And to have a cut or something that causes scar tissue, the fight's only a month away, something that could be hit, something that could be open, giving your opponent a target, I don't understand it myself.
I think it's in his demeanor, Chael, that makes me go, well, it's not that big a deal, right? He just doesn't seem concerned. He just does not seem concerned. Now, obviously, Sean O'Malley said he better not pull out of the cut. Merab goes, I will never pull out of a cut. It's just a little training injury. But Chael, could this be interpreted as he's just working really, really hard, right? That could be the other side of the coin. He's working really, really hard. He is putting in the miles to make sure that when it's time to fight, he's ready to fight. I've always believed this, and I've never been a big believer in this idea that we got to start protecting ourselves in practice. When Max Holloway said he stopped sparring, one, I didn't believe him. I thought it was crazy, but he looked better, so then everybody started sparring. You don't get ready to fight somebody without actually fighting somebody for 12 weeks leading into the fight. It seems like to me, Merab Dvalishvili is in his gym fighting someone to the point that he got cut. And he's got a little bit of time to get ready. But I didn't think it was that big a deal initially. I get Dana's reaction because I know that he's got to protect and make everybody on the surface see two gladiators ready to go perform at 100% peak performance. But there are days when you're in training camp when you can barely walk up your stairs, where your back is so out that you're in pain, you're laying on the floor. You keep it to yourself. But with this guy, he's such a monster. I don't think he believes there's anything Sean O'Malley can do to beat him. So it doesn't matter if he has 3 cuts on his face.
I get that. I mean, believe me, I do get the psychology behind it, but we still have a commission. And stitches are stitches, in all fairness. Like if the commission says, do you have a cut? Did it require stitches? It doesn't matter if it's deep or it's internal or it's 10 stitches or in this case, it was 4 stitches. Stitches are stitches. Now, this fight is not close enough. Those stitches aren't going to matter. This isn't something that director Jeff Mullen's going to get involved with, but he could. He could if it was 4 days out. He would have to look at it. He would have to get a doctor's opinion. And I'm just sharing. You're now doing their job for them. It does seem a little bit weird to provide evidence. Look, if you're going to do a crime, that's one thing. To document the crime is a whole other issue. I don't think they need to do this. And Daniel, I think I'm making bigger deal than I need to over a couple of stitches from Merab, who was just trying to bring an audience in. But to the theme of it, to the spirit of it, I remember when Oscar De La Hoya pulled out of a boxing match with Vitor and he had to film himself in the hospital bed wearing his gown. This isn't any of our business. You want to know a story that nobody knows? Dustin Poirier had cracked ribs the night that he fought Islam Makhachev. You don't know about that, and you didn't hear about that, and the commission doesn't know about it, and they didn't hear about it, and neither did the opponent Islam, because he didn't tell anybody. What difference does it make? If I'm going to fight you anyway, what difference does it make?
Absolutely. Hey, but chill. If Sean O'Malley, who is an absolute sniper, is able to target this little part on his forehead and hit it repeatedly, he's a bigger sniper than either of us could ever imagine. Because when you're in there fighting and you're throwing punches, you're not looking like, oh yeah, I want to hit him right here every single time to make sure that this cut opens up. If you just so happen to do it, you might get lucky. But you're punching for the chin, you hit him here, 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 you hit him all over the place. You don't target one spot. Chill. Last week, UFC 307 had some fights announced. It was brought to our attention that Khalil Rountree is going to be getting a championship fight against Alex Pereira. Then Julianna Peña will fight Raquel Pennington. Kayla Harrison will take on Ketlin Vieira. Movsar Evloev takes on Aljamain Sterling. And Aldo is back against Mario Bautista, which is kind of crazy that Aldo's back considering he was retired for a little bit, but now he's back. But the main focus is clearly the Pereira versus Rountree fight. When this fight got made, everybody in the division, Chael, was up in arms. They were all pissed off, from Jamal Hill to Magomed Ankalaev to anyone else with a pulse that fights at 205. What did you make of it from the outside? Did it feel as though the UFC saying, let's put this guy Ankalaev that wrestles against Rakic, and let's get Pereira in there with a guy that's striking? Or do you feel like Khalil Rountree truly does deserve an opportunity to fight for the belt?
Well, a couple of different ways to look at it. First off, let me give you the hot take of the day. Khalil Rountree is going to walk through Pereira. That is the worst matchup I could think of. Khalil Rountree, and excuse me, this is SmackDown invading Raw. And let me explain. When we think of who's going to go fight for a title on pay-per-view, we think of other guys that have won a whole bunch of fights on pay-per-view. Well, Khalil was from SmackDown. He came from the other show. He's been fighting on the fight nights and at the Apex and things like this. He still won 6 in a row. He stopped 5 of those sons of guns, and one of them was a former #1 contender, our good friend Lionheart. So I've been pushing Lionheart for this championship. If Khalil can get the jump on him, let alone stop him, we can't just overlook Khalil. And I will tell you this, Daniel, because I don't know how familiar you are or the rest of the fans are with Khalil, but he does his absolute best work when he's being attacked by a kickboxer. It's not Khalil swarming somebody or taking them down or submitting them. He is a counter fighter, and he loves when you punch or kick at him first. Khalil Rountree not only deserves this fight, and I'll admit, I was surprised. I didn't think this is the direction they were going to go, but I'll tell you a problem. Khalil's going to win this fight.
When Khalil Rountree Jr. came back from Thailand a while back, me and Joe Rogan were amazed at how much more polished he looked in the striking. But then he's not only gotten better in terms of his polish, he has power like not many people have in this division. And he's big, Chael. I did a thing with him in Vegas at a golfing show, a golfing place, and I was amazed at how big Khalil Rountree Jr. is. But at the end of the day, it would seem as though his path to victory is to knock Pereira out. That's not easy to do, Chael. He said the other day to the Schmo, I've never shot for a takedown in my career. I don't intend to do it the night that I'm standing in front of Pereira. Dude, Khalil Rountree Jr., it would seem as though when you watch Pereira, he shouldn't just play with fire. Because we've seen Pereira knock out the best strikers in the world. I like the fight, but I do recognize that this is a better style matchup than the Magomed and Kalaya fight. And honestly, I don't disagree with it. Because right now you got a Pereira who is riding hot. He's knocking people out. He's become a massive star. And you want to make sure that he has the opportunity to continue to rise and ride that hot streak. That's hard when you don't know if he's going to get held down like Ankalaev did against Jan Blachowicz the last 2 rounds of their championship opportunity. It's a great fight. It's a fun fight. And I believe in Utah, it kind of fits the bill for what is going to be one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year. And Chael, you want me, my last point. You want to know why it's so important for Pereira to stay notable and to be in that position? Because now we've talked about 3 fights, Chael, this year where we've said the biggest fight of the year. UFC 300, he headlined. Oh, this is going to be the biggest fight card ever. UFC 303 was supposed to be Conor. Who do you replace him with? Pereira. This is a massive fight card. Now we're saying UFC 307. Oh, man, this is going to be one of the best fight cards of the year. What's the connective tissue? Alex Pereira.
Yeah, I love that. I fully agree. And I will just tell you this. There's different tests that a guy will go through, even the tough, even the elite, that come out and say, they love it when the world is telling them, you can't do this. And that puts them in the right frame of mind. That puts a little bit of pressure on them. That lets them come out and show their courage. But there's another test, and the test is once you are accepted, once the world does view you as the baddest man, and then you got to fight number 8. You got to fight somebody where you're going to be a 3-1 favorite, which is the current line, and that's probably going to move. I'll bet you it goes to 4-1 by the time these guys fight. When you find yourself in a match that's harder than you thought it was going to be, you've got big problems. Now, I will tell you this. We're not going to see Pereira fight a whole lot moving forward. I think Ankalaev will fight him, and I think maybe it's going to be Rountree. And you want to know why I say that? Mike Tyson used to make guys quit in the back. Cain Velasquez would have guys wilt in the back. Anderson Silva would make guys wilt in the back because they were so scared of what was going to happen. Pereira is entering that territory. I'm just sharing with you, Rountree's the wrong matchup. All those scary punches and kicks that Pereira does, that's when Rountree does his finest work. I got to tell you, this is a massive disaster for anybody that thinks the UFC is trying to protect Alex. If they're trying to protect Alex, somebody just made a big mistake.
Well, you've seen Alex get hurt by Izzy twice. If he gets hit by Khalil Rountree, that is not good because Khalil Rountree has power. like no one else in the division. And, you know,
Daniel.
Yes.
Well, can I tell you, because you've seen this, you and I will see this as wrestling coaches to the point that it drives us crazy and we got to make kids do push-ups and we try to get out of their mind. The better a guy becomes at something, the more he goes out of his way to get away from the fundamentals. The more he's going to put his elbow on his knee and things like this from a wrestling perspective. But Pereira is no different. These great strikers, the better they do, right on day one, you put your chin down and you put your hands up. But when these guys become really good, all of a sudden that chin's out there showing, and your hands are down here at your waist. You're trying to demonstrate for everybody, I'm so good at this, I don't even have to follow the fundamentals. Pereira will give an opportunity. He gives it to every opponent. He will give them the opportunity to hit him. I submit for you, Rountree only needs to hit him once.
That's crazy, man. You will make people excited about this fight because those are true statements. But Alex Pereira seems to have massive aspirations in regards to maybe becoming a triple champion at heavyweight or going back down to 185, fighting at 185 against Dricus du Plessis. Maybe it's Dricus du Plessis fighting at 205. What's next for Pereira if he beats Khalil Rountree Jr.? Hey, you know what's funny, Chill? Dana said the other day, Dricus du Plessis fights like white people dance. That was hilarious, dog, because he out there just running, doing all kind of weird stuff. Dricus du Plessis fights like white people dance. Man, that's crazy.
Who said that? That's brilliant.
Dana
Who?
White.
Oh my
Dana
goodness.
White.
That's a fantastic analogy, by the way. I don't know if I have the courage to use it, but that's a fantastic analogy. Let me tell you this. When you're talking about Pereira and you're trying to get him up to heavyweight, yeah, you got the power of the pin. You could just go and make that fight. But if the whole point of him and Aspinall is to have champ, we all know people are going to question it because there was an interim title. I'm not one of those people, but they are going to question it. Look, if you want to get Pereira up to heavyweight, up to a fight with Aspinall or John Jones, the best way to do it is not to beg Dana for this champ business. It's to get Alex beat. If you get him beat, he can be a heavyweight tomorrow. If he makes a phone call tomorrow and says, I want to go to heavyweight, they're going to say, no, you're in a division and you're the champion of it. So there is massive opportunity out there still for Alex. I love the champ business. I'm just telling you, the easiest way to get there is to fall. It's how he became a 205-pounder. When he was the 85-pound champ, he didn't like making that weight class, and he had already achieved his goal, but they wouldn't let him go to 205. As soon as he drops the belt, next morning, he's a 205-pounder. So I'm just reminding you of that little piece of history. If you're an Alex fan, there's nothing bad that comes from this Rountree fight. And my final point on this, we do have a tournament right now. Dana White has announced very clearly that the winner of Ankalaev Raytrick will draw into the winner of Pereira and Rountree. So for the first time, first time in a long time, but we got a 4-man tournament.
Well, and that's good. That's got to be great news for Ankalaev and Rakic. Those guys both deserve chances at fighting for championships. This is a great fight. It's a great fight card. I love Salt Lake City as a UFC city. They always host very well, and it's always great fights in that arena. Man, we got Leon versus Kamaru, and remember we got Gaethje versus Poirier, both in Salt Lake City. They always host tremendous UFC fights, and the fans are crazy over there. But that's not the only fight that's there. We have a bit of a bantamweight showcase. You said there's a 4-weight tournament at 205. Well, there seems to be a 4-weight tournament at 135, as you have Raquel Pennington fighting Julianna Peña. Then you have Ketlen Vieira taking on Kayla Harrison. Chael, I will ask you this. Of the 4, who do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk the Vieira fight Harrison, or do you want to talk Pennington versus Peña? Just give me that answer.
Pennington. I want to talk Pennington.
Okay, let's talk Pennington first. Julianna Peña versus Raquel Pennington is for the Bantamweight Championship of the world. But you are, Chael, in the small portion of the world that is not saying, let's talk Kayla Harrison first. Most would say, let's talk about the shiny new toy in a division that needs somebody that will stay on the topic for a long time. But Raquel Pennington has an opportunity, Chael, to put all those ghosts of that bad fight she had to become the champion to bed if she beats Julianna Peña. If she beats Julianna Peña, who beat Amanda Nunes, now you start to elevate yourself to a point that people will respect your championship reign and not look down on it as they have done to this point with Raquel Pennington. She won that belt in February, Chill. She won that belt in February. She has not fought again. And we have seen champions sit for 8 months before. But I don't think we've seen a champion get as disregarded as we have, like Raquel Pennington has, by the masses in the sport of mixed martial arts.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's right. And I do feel like there's the boogie monster in the division, which is Kayla. That was the big surprise. There was something to the parity. We never thought we'd get Kayla in the UFC, and then we really were quite confident we'd never get her at 135 pounds because she's the one that told us that she couldn't make it. But you want to know what else? There's another boogie monster, and it's not just the return, potentially, of the lioness Amanda Nunes. It's the Venezuela Vixen. This is not an easy fight. I mean, if anyone's going to stand up to somebody, if anyone's going to get in that ring and be prepared to back up all of the talk, it's her, right? I mean, look, at the Vixen is really good. She's really mean. She's really strong. She's worked really hard to get this opportunity, and I don't think it's her biggest test. By the way, I don't think this is the hardest match that she's ever had. So I just share for you, like, as Kayla's working her way up, and we all believe it is to be Kayla versus Pennington, there's a little bit harder matchup for Kayla out there, and it's the Vixen, in my opinion.
You know what's kind of funny is that we're looking at UFC 307, and if I listen to you, there's potential for 2 new champions. That happens very rarely. But when I look at Julianna Peña, and I look at her, I don't know if there's anything more telling in a person's career than watching her with Amanda Nunes. I still, to my belief, feel like that is the greatest upset in mixed martial arts history. I know they will say George St. Pierre and Matt Serra. I know they will say some of the other ones. I believe that with the way Amanda was fighting, with Julianna being bullish in her idea that she could make her quit, with her chasing her down and just kind of nipping at her heels until Amanda had to fight her, then getting in the octagon jail and making Amanda quit and getting her with a bulldog choke. She literally fought her so hard that she made Amanda tap before the submission was even in. That is special. And she will try to take that same approach against the champion, Raquel Pennington, who, Chael, is very good with her hands. She's a very skilled fighter, and she is about as veteran as they come in this weight class.
Yeah, and it's new. It's very fresh. I mean, Julianna Peña isn't exactly a newcomer. I remember the first time that I saw her, and I want to say it was on The Ultimate Fighter in 2013. I just share with you, like, she's been around, and she's dealt with a lot of things. She's dealt with injury. She dealt with motherhood. She dealt with things that sidelined her for a little bit. But when I talk to her camp, when I talk to guys like Michael Chiesa that see her every single day, she's in there training. She's in there focused. She has not become any nicer. She's just as ornery and just as angry and wants to come and take a piece of what she believes is hers as anybody, and it's very rare when a former champion gets to return to a fresh field. These are fresh and brand new faces, but that can also be something very exciting. There's something very refreshing about having new opportunities with new opponents, and I just think that this is the perfect opportunity for Julianna Peña, as long as all the training room stories are true, and she really has been pursuing this and working as hard as I'm hearing.
And to be inspired, right? She was in Manchester when Bilal Muhammad, who she trained with at Valley Fighting Systems in Chicago, also won the championship, was right next to the octagon waiting to greet him as the new champion, being inspired, seeing Michael Chiesa do what he did out in Abu Dhabi. So there's a lot of momentum on that side, but the disrespect the champion has felt has to be motivating. But, Chael, I just got a note in the ear from one of the, okay, let's get to Kayla. So that is the idea around the world. Let's get to Kayla. Let's see what happens for Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison is taking on Ketlen Vieira. Ketlen Vieira is a savage, man. She's really, really good. But if you are to believe what you saw with with Kayla Harrison and Holly Holm, the common opponent, Ketlen Vieira did beat Holly Holm. Close fight. Kayla Harrison beat Holly Holm. Dominant fight. When you look at this matchup, what does Ketlen have to do to put herself in a position to beat this woman where most feel, and if we brought Ryan Clark on here, Ryan would have come last week, honestly, if Izzy won. He was like, Izzy wins, can I come? I'm like, absolutely. But Izzy lost, so Ryan went dark on us. But Ketlen Vieira is in this fight against someone who people like RC believe is just a champion in waiting. It is only a matter of time before Kayla Harrison holds that championship. How does Ketlin upset the apple cart, Chill.
Keep her back off the fence would be rule number one. Let me bring Khabib into this. Khabib would take everybody down, but before he took them down, he would push them into the fence. It was rinse and repeat. Like the one guy he couldn't do that to was Ally Aquinta. Even when Khabib shot in on Conor McGregor, but they were right in the center of the octagon, it took a lot of work to get him down. I'm just sharing for you. Push him into the fence, then you take him down. But Kayla really does a lot of the same thing. Look, judo has not had an illustrious history in mixed martial arts. In the men's division, not only has judo never been a champion, judo's never even been in a number one contenders match. They never even got to a championship fight. They never even got to the fight prior to it. I mean, it's really been quite abysmal. In women's fighting, we're seeing something different. But one thing that the women are able to do is to push them in the fence and to start control them. That was the problem Sarah McMahon had when she fought Ronda Rousey. And that's the problem that anybody that fights Kayla's going to have to deal with. Those big, massive takedowns in judo, if you believe in that, you have not studied the history of judo. In 1980, there was 3 guys in Stillwater, Oklahoma that were the backup guys in the Oklahoma State room. They're out drinking on a Friday night. They saw a flyer for the Olympic trials for judo the following morning. They scrambled. They didn't know the weights. They didn't know the rules. They got gis, and all 3 of them made the Olympic team. Now, we ended up boycotting that so they didn't perform, but judo had to quickly change its rules. And I'm only sharing that for you because I could go back to 2008 when the Mongolian heavyweight who won the gold medal was an alternate for the freestyle wrestling team, had never even done judo. 4 months before the Olympic Games, he switched to judo, walked through it, won the gold medal, and judo yet again had to change its rules on what a takedown is. I'm just sharing with you. It's not very effective as an art, but if you push them into the fence and you can slow them down, when the trips start to come in, like Holly Holm found out, you can have big problems.
Why is that? Why is it so effective in female fighting, but it doesn't work in MMA in the male division? It just does not seem to work on the men. So tell me, Chill, why? Why is it so effective when the women are fighting?
It's an interesting thing. I mean, those tops are so important. Like to not have to go against sweat. Just the uniforms that the women wear open up an entire upper body. It's just one of those things. And if you can slow them down and push them in the fence and you can get your grippers on them. I mean, Khabib and Islam reminded us time and time again how effective sweeps and leg trips can be up against the cage where an opponent can't back up and he can't sprawl. I'm just sharing for you. That's one thing that Kayla is going to do very well. I think Kayla's going to have some success there. But as I start to foreshadow for Kayla, I'm not confident she's going to be in there with Pennington after this. I think she's going to be in there with Julianna, and Julianna's not getting pushed around by anybody.
You know, grips are so important. Guys, I lost Chael. Okay, I'll be back. Grips are so important in everything that we do. And you're right. The rash guard that the women wear up top does give you something to hold on to. It's why, Chael, all the wrestling I did was around the shorts. I always tried to wrestle around the shorts because then I can hold on to something. And maybe that's why the women are more effective with the upper body takedowns, because they do wear those rash guards. So if I'm one of the women fighters, I'm wearing a little top. I'm wearing a sports bra because I want as much skin showing as I can because it doesn't catch on anything. Kayla Harrison can be a star. Kayla Harrison, when she gets to 135, she looks phenomenal. She's in such great shape. She's so big. She's so strong. And she looks like a woman that at one point competed at like 170 pounds in the Olympic Games, getting all the way down to 135. But if she becomes champion, I feel like it opens up a world where Amanda Nunes comes back. But is that the only fight, Chael, that Amanda Nunes would come back for? If Julianna becomes the champ, do you think she comes back? If Raquel stays champ, do you think she comes back? If Ketlin becomes champ, do you think it's only Kayla that I think could bring the Lioness back?
Well, that's very beautiful. And you think highly of her mental state than I do. I've met her a few times and she's been nothing but a wonderful person. But as far as I'm concerned, the one fight she will not return for is Kayla. She's had that opportunity. She didn't do it. She didn't even want it in the practice room. I mean, those stories started to come out of the ATT that the entire reason that the Lioness left and did her own thing was because of the presence of Kayla, and she didn't want to have to train with her. The Lioness did not deny that. Now, she had a slightly different take on it, but the bottom line is, Yeah, she left the gym because Kayla was in the gym. That was the one commonality. And I just share for you, I don't know how much I believe this. I believe she could have that fight right now. I don't think she have to wait for a championship. I think she could come in and get a number one contenders match if that's what she wanted to do. If she does beat her for a championship or reclaims the championship she's already got, she wants to be top of the division. That's something she's already had. The one thing that she doesn't have is a win over Kayla Harrison. So I don't know how much the belt truly matters. I know it's fun to say, and I know it's fun to play pretend on Twitter. But if you want to fight, it's not going on Twitter and it's not pretend. It's one phone call to Dana and she hadn't made it.
You know, it's a call she hasn't made, but it needs to be right because a lot was made about Amanda Nunes walking away. She cannot just come back, Chill. She cannot just come back to fight anyone. She has to come back for something that matters. And the moment Kayla Harrison made her UFC debut, Amanda Nunes was right away going, hey, maybe I'm coming back. There was a video that came out of Amanda in front of the TV talking about coming back. I believe that Kayla Harrison, winning that championship or getting closer, continues to kind of light the fire of the great Amanda Nunes. And I would be all for it. You know, that would be a tremendous fight. But all these fights are amazing at bantamweight. And I feel like this is exactly what that division needs because the Pennington Bueno Silva fight was not good. I'm not going to sit here and pretend, Chael. The Pennington Bueno Silva fight was not good. They need something good in this division next. It seems like Salt Lake City, Utah is setting up to give the crowd and the fans exactly what they need at 135. Chael, Mark Coleman, one of the founders or the godfathers of mixed martial arts. We did a great article on him at ESPN.com. It was done by Ryan Hawkins-Smith. It's available on ESPN.com right now /MMA. It's about Mark and his survival of the fire. I have talked to Mark about this, Chael. It was harrowing. It was scary. It was insane to hear the moments that he went through in that fire. We have spoken about this a little bit. But go and read this article, Chael. When you read this article, he gets in detail about some of the happenings that happened in the fire with Mark Coleman. It truly is inspirational.
I'm actually familiar with the article, and I got a sneak peek at that. I will tell you, it's terrifying. That situation is completely terrifying. Like anytime you're asleep, I would imagine that you're at your most vulnerable. In fact, you have to come to peace. You have to relax your mind and your body just to fall asleep. So, I mean, just by definition, for something to happen to be waking up in that manner, and he wasn't worried about his safety, by the way. His safety came in last. That's what makes him the true hero in the situation, not just that a fire broke out. He tried to save the parents and succeeded. He tried to save the animals. He saved every living creature he could before he tried to save himself, and he darn near failed at that. The smoke ended up getting him. He went down. I'm going to leave it at that, but I will back your claim. It is an amazing article.
It's an amazing story for this one of the best dudes in mixed martial arts history. Chael, another great show, my brother. Until next week, guys. Chael Sonnen, Daniel Cormier. You guys have a great weekend. Hey, we got fights this weekend. Massive fights this weekend. As Jared Cannonier welcomes Kyle Borralho to the top of the division. You guys don't want to miss that. Until next time, we'll see you on Good Guy, Bad Guy. Peace.